Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Everyday English Channel. I'm Sarah, and I am absolutely thrilled you've chosen to spend your time with us today as we tackle one of the most confusing challenges in English grammar, something that even advanced learners struggle with daily.
And I'm Jack. Today we're exploring two tiny words that cause massive confusion. Two simple prepositions that seem interchangeable but absolutely are not. Two words that can completely change the meaning of your sentence if you use the wrong one.
We're talking about in and at, those two-letter and three-letter words that appear in almost every conversation, the prepositions that native speakers use automatically without thinking, the words that make perfect sense to us but confuse learners constantly.
Confuse constantly frustratingly. And here's something fascinating we'll reveal later in this video. There's one specific rule about in and at that completely changes how you think about them. Once you understand this rule, 90% of your confusion disappears instantly.
Disappears instantly, completely. But first, please hit that subscribe button right now. Join our Everyday English Channel family, because we're not just teaching preposition rules today, we're teaching you how native speakers actually think about these words. Real usage, real patterns, real English.
Real English naturally flowing. And you absolutely must stay until the end, because we'll share the biggest mistake that makes learners sound immediately non-native when using in and at. Once you fix this one thing, your English will sound dramatically more natural.
More natural immediately, noticeably. Also, drop a comment below telling us which preposition confuses you most. Is it in and at, or maybe on or from? We read every single comment. Your questions help us create better lessons for everyone.
For everyone worldwide, real explanations, natural patterns, practical understanding. So let's begin with something important. Why do in and at cause so much confusion?
So much confusion constantly because they both relate to location. They both talk about where something is. They both seem similar, but they create completely different mental pictures in native speakers' minds.
Minds native automatically. Here's what happens. Learners try to translate from their native language. They look for exact equivalents. They search for simple rules, but in and at don't work that way in English.
In English, naturally, these prepositions work on logic, on mental images, on how native speakers visualize space and location. Once you understand how we think about in versus at, everything becomes clearer.
Becomes clearer significantly. So let's start with the fundamental difference, the core concept that separates these two words, the mental picture that native speakers have automatically. Ready?
Ready, absolutely listening. Here's the key. At is a point. In is a space. That's it. That's the fundamental difference. At equals point, in equals space. Simple concept, massive implications.
Implications massive everywhere. Let me explain what this means practically. When you say at somewhere, you're thinking of that location as a single point on a map, a dot, a specific spot, no consideration of the inside space.
Inside space whatsoever. But when you say in somewhere, you're thinking of that location as a container, a space with inside and outside, a place you can be physically inside of.
Inside of, literally. Let's use examples immediately. I'm at the store versus I'm in the store. Both are correct, but they mean slightly different things. Can you feel the difference?
The difference, subtly? I'm at the store means I'm at that location as a point. Maybe outside, maybe in the parking lot, maybe just arrived. The store is just a point on the map in this sentence.
This sentence exactly. But I'm in the store means I'm physically inside the building, inside the space, surrounded by the store's interior. The store is a container I'm inside of.
Inside of, currently. Now here's what's interesting. Most of the time, both are acceptable. Native speakers use both, but we choose based on what we want to emphasize. Point location, use at. Inside space, use in.
Use in definitely. Let's practice with more locations. I'm at the library versus I'm in the library. Same pattern. At treats it as a point. In treats it as a space you're inside.
You're inside physically. She's at the hospital. Could mean she works there, she's visiting, she's in the parking lot. But she's in the hospital typically means she's a patient. She's inside, receiving treatment probably.
Treatment probably seriously. See how meaning changes subtly? The preposition you choose creates different implications, different mental pictures, different assumptions about the situation.
The situation completely. Now let's talk about one category where you must use at, never in. This is crucial. These locations always take at in English. Always. No exceptions.
No exceptions whatsoever. Small, specific locations, points on a map, places without significant interior space in our minds. For example, at the bus stop, at the door, at the window, at the corner.
At the corner, always. Never say in the corner when talking about street corners. That's wrong. It's always, I'll meet you at the corner of 5th and Main. At, because it's a point location.
Point location exactly. But wait, there's an exception. In the corner is correct when talking about interior corners, inside a room. The lamp is in the corner. That's inside a space, so in works.
In works perfectly. See the difference? Street corner equals point equals at. Room corner equals inside space equals in. The logic applies consistently once you understand it.
Understand it deeply. More at locations. At the traffic light, at the intersection, at the gate, at the entrance. All points, all specific spots, all use at exclusively.
At exclusively, always. Now let's discuss another category, events and activities. This is where things get really interesting, where learners make frequent mistakes, where the pattern becomes clear.
Becomes clear beautifully. For events, we generally use at. I'm at a concert. She's at a meeting. They're at a party. He's at a conference. At treats the event as a point in time and space.
And space combined. You might think I'm in a meeting sounds wrong, but actually native speakers say both. I'm in a meeting emphasizes being involved in the process, being engaged, being occupied.
Being occupied currently. So I can't talk, I'm in a meeting is very common. It stresses you're actively participating, you're engaged, you're busy, can't be disturbed.
Can't be disturbed right now. But I'm at a meeting is also correct, slightly more formal, focuses on location and event rather than active participation. Both work, different emphasis.
Different emphasis slightly. For classes, same pattern. I'm at class means attending. I'm in class means currently sitting in the classroom. Both used commonly, both acceptable.
Now, here's something crucial that confuses many learners. Cities, countries, and large areas. These follow a specific pattern, very consistent, very predictable.
Very predictable, thankfully. For cities, always in. I live in New York. She's in Tokyo. They're in London. Always in, because cities are large spaces, containers you can be inside.
Inside of geographically. For countries, always in. I'm in the United States. He's in France. We're in Brazil. Countries are definitely large containers, spaces you're inside of.
Inside of clearly. For continents, always in. She's in Europe. They're in Asia. I'm in North America. Large geographical spaces always use in.
Always use in consistently. But here's where it gets interesting. Small towns and villages sometimes use at. I'm at a small village can sound natural. Why? Because we're treating it as a point, not a container.
Not a container, exactly. However, I'm in a small village is also correct and probably more common. You can choose either. At emphasizes it as a point on your journey. In emphasizes it as a place you're currently inside.
Currently inside staying. Now let's talk about addresses, specific rules, very clear patterns. This is where learners often make mistakes, but shouldn't because the rules are actually simple.
Actually simple, straightforward. For street addresses with numbers, always at. I live at 123 Main Street. The office is at 456 Oak Avenue. Always at, because it's a specific point, a precise location.
Precise location, exactly. But for just the street name without numbers, use on. I live on Main Street. The store is on Fifth Avenue. On because you're on the surface of the street, not at a specific point.
Specific point necessarily. And for neighborhoods or districts, use in. I live in Brooklyn. The restaurant is in downtown. She works in the financial district. These are areas, so in works.
In works, naturally. Now, here's the biggest game-changing rule we promised earlier, the one that solves 90% of confusion. Ready for this? It's incredibly simple, but powerful.
But powerful, tremendously. Here it is. If you can physically walk inside it, use in. If you can't walk inside it, or if the inside doesn't matter for your sentence, use at. That's it.
That's it, basically. Can you walk inside a building? Yes, so in the building works. Can you walk inside a bus stop? Not really, so at the bus stop. Can you walk inside a country? Conceptually, yes, so in the country.
In the country, always. This simple test solves most problems. Think about whether the inside space matters, whether you can be physically contained by the location. If yes, in. If no, at.
If no, at, definitely. Let's practice this rule with rapid examples. Building, inside exists, in the building. Store, inside exists, in the store. Office, inside exists, in the office.
In the office, clearly. Door can't go inside a door, at the door. Window can't go inside a window, at the window. Desk can't go inside a desk, at the desk.
At the desk, working. Now let's discuss time expressions. In and at with time. Different rules, different logic, but still following consistent patterns that make sense.
Makes sense completely. For specific times on the clock, always at. The meeting is at 3 o'clock. I'll see you at noon. She arrives at midnight. At because it's a specific point in time.
In time, exactly. For longer time periods, use in. In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, in 2024, in December, in the summer. These are containers of time, periods you can be inside of.
Inside of temporally. But notice, at night, not in the night. This is an exception. We say at night even though night is a time period. Why? Historical usage. Just memorize this one.
This one exception. At night is standard. In the night sounds poetic or old-fashioned. Modern English uses at night for general nighttime, in the night for specific moments during nighttime.
During nighttime specifically. More time expressions. At Christmas, at Easter, at Thanksgiving. These holidays use at. They're treated as specific time points even though they're actually periods.
Actually periods, technically, but in the holiday season uses in because it's a longer period. In December uses in, at Christmas Day uses at. The specificity determines the preposition.
The preposition choice. Now let's talk about activities and states. This is fascinating. This is where in and at show their flexibility, where meaning changes based on choice.
Based on choice, definitely. I'm at work means I'm at my workplace, at the location, at the job site. Physical presence emphasized. Very common expression.
Common expression daily. I'm in work is less common but means I'm engaged in working. I'm in the process. I'm actively doing work. Different emphasis completely.
Completely different nuance. At school versus in school. At school means at the physical location. In school means enrolled as a student. My daughter is in school means she's a student, not necessarily there right now.
Right now, physically. But my daughter is at school means she's physically there right now, at the building, attending today, present at the location.
The location currently. See how these small words create big meaning differences? Native speakers choose based on what we want to communicate: location versus state, presence versus involvement.
Versus involvement, exactly. Now here's the biggest mistake learners make, the one that sounds immediately non-native, the error that native speakers never make but learners do constantly.
Do constantly, unfortunately. Using in when talking about events at venues, saying I'm in the concert instead of I'm at the concert. I'm in the restaurant when you mean you're dining there as a customer.
As a customer, eating. If you're a customer at a restaurant, say, I'm at the restaurant. This means you're there to eat. You're attending the restaurant as its purpose.
As its purpose intended, I'm in the restaurant technically means you're physically inside the building, which is true, but native speakers almost always say at the restaurant when dining there.
Dining there currently. Same with at the cinema, at the theater, at the museum. When you're there as a visitor, as a customer, as a participant, use at.
Use at always. You only use in when emphasizing the physical interior space specifically. It's cold in the restaurant uses in because you're talking about the interior temperature, the inside space.
Inside space specifically. But for your presence there as a customer, I'm at the restaurant. Always. This distinction is crucial. Master this and you'll sound much more native.
Now let's practice some tricky situations, scenarios where learners often hesitate, where the choice isn't immediately obvious, where you need to think about the logic.
About the logic carefully. Transportation, vehicles. This confuses many learners. Should you use in or at? The answer depends on the size and type of vehicle.
Type of vehicle, exactly. Cars, always in. I'm in the car. You're inside an enclosed space, a container. Trains, in the train. Buses, on the bus, actually. We say on for buses, strangely.
Strangely, traditionally. Planes, on the plane. Boats and ships, on the boat. On the ship. These are exceptions. We think of them as surfaces we're on, not containers we're in.
We're in, technically, but language doesn't always follow logic perfectly. These are traditional uses. Just memorize. Car, in. Bus, on. Plane, on. Train, in.
Train in, typically. Small boats might use in. I'm in the canoe because you sit down inside it. But large ships always use on. I'm on the cruise ship.
The cruise ship, definitely. Now let's discuss home expressions. At home versus in the house. Very common, very important, used daily in conversation.
In conversation, constantly. I'm at home is the standard expression, not in home. Never say in home. It's always at home when talking about being at your residence.
Your residence currently. But I'm in the house is perfectly correct. Different emphasis. At home feels more natural, more general. In the house emphasizes being physically inside the building.
The building specifically. You might say, I'm in the house, not in the yard, to specify location, or the kids are in the house to say they're inside, not outside playing.
Outside playing somewhere. Similar pattern with at my friend's house versus in my friend's house. Both correct. At is more common when talking about visiting. In emphasizes interior location.
Interior location specifically. Now let's talk about institutions, organizations, establishments. These follow interesting patterns worth understanding clearly. Understanding clearly completely. Schools and universities. I study at Harvard uses at. The institution is a point. But I'm in the library at Harvard uses both. In for the building, at for the institution.
The institution overall. Hospitals, she works at the hospital means she's employed there. She's in the hospital means she's a patient. Big meaning difference from one preposition change.
One preposition only. Banks, offices, companies, usually at. I work at Google. She's at the bank. The meeting is at our office. At treats them as point locations.
Point locations professional, but you can say I'm in the building or I'm in the office when emphasizing the interior space. Both prepositions work depending on emphasis.
Depending on emphasis intended. Now here's something really useful. Common fixed expressions, phrases that always use in or always use at. Just memorize these. Use them automatically.
Use them automatically, naturally. Always at the moment, at present, at least, at most, at first, at last, at once, at times, at all. These are fixed. Don't change them.
Change them ever. Always in fact, in general, in particular, in detail, in common, in advance, in progress, in touch, in charge, in trouble. Fixed expressions. Memorize them.
Memorize them completely. These expressions use in or at for historical reasons, not logical reasons necessarily. They're just standard. Use them correctly and you'll sound more fluent.
More fluent, definitely. Let's practice with some real conversation examples, how native speakers actually use in and at in daily life, real situations, natural language.
Natural language flowing. Hey, where are you? I'm at the coffee shop on Main Street. Uses at because it's a point location. Natural, common, everyday conversation.
Everyday conversation, typical. Are you still in the office? No, I'm at home now. Both prepositions use naturally. In for office emphasizes being inside. At for home is standard expression.
Standard expression always. I'll meet you at the entrance, not in the entrance. At because it's a specific point, a meeting location, a spot on the map.
The map mentally. She's in a meeting right now. Can't be disturbed. Engaged in the activity. In emphasizes involvement and current engagement.
Current engagement actively. I'm in the middle of something. Fixed expression, always in, means occupied, busy, can't stop right now.
Right now, currently. We're at a turning point. Metaphorical use. At for a point.